Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the DAT Guys. Today I think we're going to have a pretty good show. I'm Daniel McCarthy, Stronger by the Mile, and of course we have Mr. Trucker Review channel himself. I guess we'll just go ahead and dive right into this and put out some good information.
Okay, Daniel, I have brung up the van loads for the national counts, and I thought we would just quickly run over the states. It's still dismal, as we all know in our industry, but we had to touch on it, right? Oh, and
Right.
I think there's been a misconception about the whole DAT board role in freight today. Would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of misinformation out there or misunderstanding when it comes to DAT and the Trucker Edge platform. When people look at the DAT board, some of the information is that they're thinking that DAT sets the shipping rates, the freight rates that the brokers have posted on the DAT board. Um, DAT has no influence whatsoever with the market rates. What loads ship for? They are the middle person between the truck driver and the broker. They're just a platform so drivers can find loads and brokers can post loads.
That's it in a nutshell. Very good. All right, so look at this. Let's look at these van trends today. Okay, um, we're not even going to talk about the states that matter very little as far as in and out, because they're always going to be still the same averages. But we can look at Alabama with 792 loads in and 169 out. Arizona 733 to 281. Arkansas, who is still open and doing business with all their chicken plants, 672 loads in and 140 loads out. California's at 50-50. Colorado's about normal. Florida is 1,500 in and 534 out. That's even bad for Florida in the orange juice season.
It is, and you got the produce season now. You've also got the nursery season right now, where they're shipping out all the plants and stuff like that, the flowers, the vegetables.
Georgia's the same way, 1,300 in, 1,573 out. What were the good states last week? Was Indiana and Illinois. Now, Illinois is still strong with 2,000 in and 1,900 out. And Indiana is a 50-50 ratio. And there was one other state. What was Ohio? We should look at Ohio. Always got to look at Ohio. 1,500 in, 938 out. But Illinois still pulls from all of those markets, because you know as well as I do, we will 100% deadheads from Toledo or Eastern Ohio to Illinois to get a load. Same thing with Indiana. We're all going to Illinois.
Same thing with Kentucky too, as well, shooting up.
Yep. If you're down in Paducah or somewhere, you might be heading to Springfield or something. It's not that far of a hop. So
Right.
that puts Illinois. I'm surprised that Illinois still has that many loads out. But with the volume coming in from those other states, it's not as good a thing as it sounds like on face value. Let's go ahead.
PA, Pennsylvania. That should be a lot stronger for this time of year than it is. A little over 1,200 going in, 7.5 coming out, 763 coming out. That should be a lot stronger. Pennsylvania is a production state.
And they're going to pull in from New York and New Jersey and all around. And what, New Jersey's 935 in and 500 out, and New York's 1,000 in and 600 out. This is dismal. But we know that, right? So
This is the time situation you really need to have the tools at your disposal so you know where to run. so you can stay out of the weaker areas, the weaker markets, and keep your truck loading with decent freight.
I really don't see any strong market, though, if you count the contributing states that truck overflows come in from.
True.
Last week we checked Chicago to Dallas, which has always been a strong market for everyone, and we checked it at 200 miles out. Let's make that a little shorter, 100 miles out. Well, let's go 150, and check that again this week, and see what we find. The offering prices last week was really hurting. And, oh, okay, I'm bringing it up right now. Now, this is 150 miles of Illinois, of Chicago, Illinois. So it's bringing in Indiana freight, northern Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan also. And it populated 35 loads. 2 to be exact, but let's look at the first one down here, which is let's look at the first one that has an offer on it. Okay, this load comes from Edwardsville, Illinois, going to Palestine, Texas. So you know it's going to be a big box load, right? We all know Palestine, Texas. Its 7-day moving average is $11.73, and the offer price is $1,000. On 686 miles. That's okay. I mean, I can live with that. I may not like it, but I can live with it.
You know, definitely pay the bills if you got a reasonable expenses for your business.
Yes. And that's the terrible part, though. I mean, if you can get a return load that is just as good, if you can do 4 of them this week, you're going to make it. You're going to have an $8,000 week or something in that range, right? Well, $4,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, but that'll keep a man in business a lot of times.
Right.
We have a Landstar load here. You want to check that out? It's from Oak Lawn, Illinois to Houston, Texas. It is 43,000 pounds. A lot of these loads are heavy. But they are all factorable. I'm not going to look at loads that do not have a green factor check, because I think that's very important in today's market.
Yeah, it's very important, especially with the datboard with the factoring company, because if you haul a load and the broker doesn't want to pay you, then DAT becomes your collection agency on that.
This particular load that Landstar has for their overflow is a 7-day moving average is 1486. The trip is 1,077 miles, and the offer is $1,000. I'm not going to like that load, but if I can get it for 12, I'm probably still going to haul it. May not be able to get it for 12 in this market, though.
I would imagine that, with that amount of loads being on the load board, the truck capacity is going to be extremely high.
That's it exactly. There's so much of a capacity that this isn't a broker's market like a lot of people think. It's a shipper's market. They know the value of what they have. They're the ones that sets the rates, not the broker. But oh darn, I guess we should save that for another video. We'll make that a standalone video, but we will touch on the fact that you can see, if you haul for a broker regularly, how you can request information on the rates that they pick that freight up for. And a lot of truckers don't understand that they can do that they can actually file an information act, and the broker has to tell them whether he wants to or not. And then if that broker's a fair broker to work with.
Now, is that a federal regulation or is that state by state?
It's a federal regulation. And I'll drop the link down in the video, but we're also gonna talk about that separately on an upcoming video, because I think that's very important that people know that. So you know that if you are getting a fair price,
right?
And that's what so much this hub does about the upcoming May Day effect is about a fair price. Here's a load here. It's 17,000 pounds. It's a JB Hunt Services coming from Des Plaines, Illinois, going to San Antonio, Texas. So that means it's 1,200 miles, 1,690 moving average. It's $1,500 is their offer. Sometimes you got to work with these mega carriers.
You do.
And
You do.
that's survivable. Right now, we're looking at survivability in this market. We're not trying to get rich or anything else, just surviving.
When I was running my own authority, I worked with several of the mega carriers quite often. You get into a bad area, there's not a lot of freight. A lot of times the mega carriers do have the freight to get you out of that area.
They do. And that's something else, though, is a lot of people right now are going through really hard times, and I've heard talk about people petitioning the government for a national average for IFTA miles run, right? So if you need to take a load that pays 80 cents a mile, they're trying to petition the government, and that's what this May Day protest thing is about, in a way, is they're trying to get awareness out so that the government will pay you another $1.50 for your IFTA miles on top of what your broker paid you, right?
Right.
But I see that as a way to nationalize the trucking industry. These guys mean well, and I totally understand because they're trying to survive. But if you can enact that, because the fuel surcharge actually came about in this exact same kind of scenario, and the government enacted the fuel surcharge, but what are they going to do this time? Because fuel is nothing. I mean, fuel is practically free compared to what current people have seen in their life, right? So I really am afraid if the government steps in to this, they could nationalize trucking, especially on the van and reefer side, and say, this is your minimum. But now, I don't know if that would be good, because later on, when freight goes back to $3 a mile, it's not going to be at $3 a mile. You're going to get that government minimum, right?
Right. See, that was one thing I wanted to bring up. You know, you stated that the fuel was cheap right now. It's compared to what it has been in the past. If the government steps in and says this is your minimum, what's to say they're not going to cap you on the top? And what happens when the fuel shoots back up to, say, $3 a gallon, $4 a gallon? That's
exactly what I feel that they'll do. They'll cap you. You'll still have the fuel surcharge come back, I feel, because that's already enacted. But it's those guys that are used to getting $3 a mile aren't going to be happy with that. You can't have one thing without suffrage on the other side. You have, if it's going to be a give and a take, if you want the gravy, you got to take the pain.
Yeah. And see, that also brings up the idea of the lease drivers, the lease purchase drivers. How would that affect them if the minimum is less? Would that open up an avenue for the mega carriers to keep more of their revenue?
It certainly might. You're right. That is a good question, Daniel. That's a real good question. We need to hash that out a little bit, because I think there's a whole lot involved going deeper, right? That well-meaning, everything that's well-meaning has adverse consequences also,
Right. I mean, you could even look at the insurance market. If there's a regulation that comes in, like what we're talking about, that could take out a lot of competitive edge or competition out of insurance rates as well.
Yes. Would you like to look at reefers over here today?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Okay. It's not a strong market either at all. Alabama has 174 to 38. Arizona 391 to 181. Arkansas, reefers again in chicken country, right? 186 to 42. Oh, Daniel, California looks really bad for the reefer market right now. That's crazy. It's produce season.
528 coming out.
I haven't updated this, but I'm seeing 535 out of California. And they're going to draw from all the markets.
Wow.
Oh, that's terrible. I mean, we just now going into onion season down in Yuma. And that's what we have? Let's try to find a strong state. Florida's not strong. No. Oh, remember last week we had 50-50 and we had like 1,800 going into Illinois and like 1,900 coming out. And I said that this week would be different because of the overflow. This week, Illinois has 502 in and 785 out. We're at that overage now.
We're starting to see the results of everything being stocked and full at the warehouses.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Indiana, 796 in and 179 out. Let's scan down here to a strong state. Ohio is 50-50. Pennsylvania's 50-50, but it's 286 in and 295 out. So that's, even though it's flush, it's not strong. Let's search let's search a reefer load. Let's see if there is anything going on today. And we will keep it in the Chicago, Dallas area.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Stewartville, Wisconsin to Claiborne, Texas is the best paying load that popped up so far. We got 34 total results. So let's check it out. Okay, this load is 29,000 pounds. You know I try to find the light loads because I'm cheap like that. We got 1,034 trip miles. 1,468 day, at moving average for a 7-day moving average. That's the money, 1,468. And the offer is 12. So we're still above a buck a mile. I don't think we're going to get them to go up on it. But it will keep you in business. It'll feed you, right?
You know, one thing that we're really seeing with this market is a good lesson is managing your expenses, even in a good market.
Okay, Go-To Logistics actually has a $1,700 offer price on this load. Daniel, that's the 7-day moving average also on 1,300 miles. Now, Sequin, Texas, I believe is near Houston. I'm not positive, but I believe it is. It's 3,500 pounds and it's factorable. I'm going to take that load.
Now, what's that broker's credits for?
97, and they are factorable.
Yep, I'd absolutely probably take it.
Yes, definitely. It's 35,000 pounds, and even I, with my truck, can haul that load. All right, let's move on to a little bit of news today. You know, this dashboard for the Trucker's Edge, there's all kinds of stuff here. We can't even get into some of these right, like power only and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can get into those.
Not today, right? Is it a whole different setup?
It's a little bit different. Not much.
I would like to see that eventually. Let's look at the trends first before we move on. Once again, we're at that slow loading. It's getting a little bit dark in here. The sun has sunk below the horizon.
The same thing here. If you look behind me, it's gotten kind of dark.
It has. Okay, spot load post. Okay, for the week we're up 6.2%. Spot truck post is down almost 10%, 9% or 0.9%. Van load to truck up 3.5%. Van spot rates are down 4%. Now I'm just going off the week because we're still at that strange algorithm.
Right.
But none of it looks sweet. I'm not going to make anybody happy with any of this stuff today. No, I don't want to get trend lines. Okay. All right. Remember last week we was talking about the tonnage of freight coming into the United States on ships that are still out to sea, or all the 485 ships that were canceled?
Right.
Well, I've got an article here. It's on Freight Waves, but it's about Hub Group's volume declines accelerate in April. Now, I think that is a direct reference to what we were talking about, the shipping rates, because Hub Group is a big carrier that carries box store stuff that comes in on container ships or rail even, and rail has declined terribly also. And that's what this article is about. It says, on its first quarter 2020 earnings call, intermodal marketing company Hub Group management team said that they expect second quarter volumes to deteriorate further. April revenue is down 15 to 18% year over year company-wide, accelerating from the 10% decline during the first quarter. So you know that we are firmly in that recession that we have talked about now, right? The GDP is down. The GDP in Europe has declined to match ours. So Hub Group, the company, reported 40 cents in earnings per share, significantly lower than the consensus estimated at 60 cents per share, according to Yahoo Finance. The quarter included $2.5 million at 7 cents per share in severance, consulting, and donation expenses, as well as $3.4 million of nonprofit amortization. So that's just really just saying freight is even down for the mega carriers. And right now, I always tell people run to the mega carrier in this kind of economy, and that's a very unpopular thing to say. But if you're looking for safety to stay alive, you can run to mega carriers right now. But even that is going to decline. Their volume is going to go down along with everyone else's. It just, they have 50,000 trailers loaded at the moment, so they're not going to see it as fast, but they're still going to see it within a month.
Now, do you think going to a mega carrier would, even though the freight is declining, do you think that would become of an insurance policy for the rate per mile that the drivers could get?
I do think it is an insurance policy, 100%. In 2008, it was a totally different scenario, but previously I had been running my own authority up until about 2004 or so, and in 2008 I had already moved all of my trucks to a mega carrier because of the decline in freight. I was running some under my own authority and some at different, I didn't keep all my eggs in one basket, right? But in 2008, I moved everyone to a mega carrier because it was the only thing I could do. It wasn't that rates were so terrible. It was the volume wasn't there to support these men. So I had to move there. And we actually did pretty well. But fuel surcharges were so high. That's why we did well. Any particular article you would like to touch on?
Yep. TransportationNation.com, which we'll put the link in the description, has an update I'll just get into it out of Washington, D.C. On Wednesday, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration announced that FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, will now provide 1 million masks to commercial drivers in the coming days. In making the announcement, FMCSA Acting Administrator Jim Mullen pointed to the incredible efforts truckers are continuing to make as they deliver goods and supplies to homes, businesses, hospitals throughout America. With the help of our state partners in the motor carrier industry, these protected masks will help truckers remain safe and healthy while they continue to maintain our nation's supply chain. However, it has been 7 weeks since President Donald Trump declared the COVID-19 pandemic a national emergency by the FMCSA, issued its unprecedented 50-state hours of service exemption. In that time, a long list of trucking groups, stakeholders, and countless truckers have publicly called for the Department of Transportation to provide personal protective equipment, PPE, to the drivers. So it looks like they're getting ready to actually put some of those products out there.
You know, I'm really glad that they're finally getting those products out to the truck drivers, but this was a big shortcoming on the government's part. We need them, they need us. I don't feel like the average truck driver's been protected out there. If he's on the road and he can't buy masks because they were all sold out, right? That should have been right on the first line. The first line of issuance should have been to truck drivers, medical workers and everything, but to the truck drivers also. Because you know there's truck drivers running around with COVID right now that are asymptomatic and they don't know it and they're spreading it.
Yeah, they've got it with no symptoms.
Yes. I've seen that one of the military aircraft carriers, 40% of everyone on the ship has tested positive, but almost everyone is asymptomatic because they're young and healthy.
Oh, wow.
I've got an article here from the Trucker, and it's about the May Day thing that's coming up tomorrow, actually, because today is the 30th and tomorrow is the 1st, right? Yes. All right, drivers, other industry insiders weigh in on issues of dropping freight rates. All right, this is a little bit long, so I'm not going to read it all, but Tony Fila commented to the Truckers Facebook page, the bottom dropped out. They're not shipping, so there went 60% of my long-distance freight out the window. Fila usually hauls rebar and other fabricated products on a flatbed trailer. Due to the reduction in loads, he's now working in his carrier's local fleet market, shorter regional runs. Under normal operating conditions, he would use load boards to pick up return loads from brokers. But the rates are so low that he is deadheading back, adding that he is surviving for now and has no desire to haul freight for free. He talks in this article, excuse me, about tomorrow's protest, and it's going to be held in several different states. And he says that, you know, he understands how they feel. But like me and probably you also, they can't halt traffic. They can't be a spectacle. Truck drivers always lose in this scenario. This scenario happened in the 70s and in the early 80s, and we came out to be the enemy. We really did. It was picketing and lines, and it was terrible. Most people don't remember that stuff, but I do. You don't want to come out of this being an enemy to the state.
No, you don't. And it's like in, was it Texas? Was it last week, a week ago, 2 weeks when they actually stopped traffic? Most of those truck drivers, if not all of them, got cited for, misdemeanor charges, and then one woman actually was arrested for trying to incite a riot. Right. Yes,
she was, and I read that article earlier. He says, I don't think they should be slowing traffic or getting the police involved. The media spokesman for OIDA talk numbers 2. He says, know your cost of operations, know your customers, she said, and always feel safer. Unfortunately, a lot of these people don't know their cost of operation. They just want to make money. And so they really They just know they're... I feel really bad for them, Daniel. But you got to know everything. This is a business. You have to know everything.
Right.
Oh, even right here. Hooper vehemently denied recently publicity that claimed DAT sets broker rates. Can you believe it? I mean, if you don't know that DAT's not setting broker rates, you probably shouldn't be an owner-operator. I mean, just truthfully, right? DAT does not set rates. All rates are negotiated between the parties involved, he said. We believe the DAT load board is the largest public marketplace for loads in the country, and it is. It's like a meeting room in a way. It brings people together.
Yeah, the spot market rates are derived from rate agreements between the broker and the carrier, reflecting the broker's buy rate. You got to remember, guys, DAT is just the middle person. They're a website for loads that be posted. They have no influence on the rates whatsoever.
It's no different. No matter what load board you're using, I personally like the DAT board, but you can look at all of them in the same vein. None of them set the rates. All right, which article would you like to touch on now?
My internet is for some reason slowing up really good, so if you have one, we'll go with that one.
Okay. This is also about the May Day protest. Apparently I was looking at the wrong one a while ago. But the trucker has a nice article on the May Day protest that are going to happen tomorrow. And I'll put that down below too. Apparently there's quite a people that are wanting to get involved in this. Let's see, there were 75 in Houston. I know is it Indianapolis tomorrow? I don't know. Chicago and Washington tomorrow.
Washington, I know.
Yeah. They are so misguided. I feel so terrible about it. Oh well. There's nothing we can do about it, Daniel. Hopefully we can do a broker segment and spread a little understanding. Okay, here is an article from the Daily Mail. That's in the UK. But a lot of times your best news actually comes from out of the country, because people in every country know more about our news and our political situations than most of us do. It's a terrible thing to say, but you've been to other countries and you know people will always ask you on the subway or anything. You're going along on a damn march and somebody's asking you about politics from some Arab guy, right? They all know. Donald Trump tries to calm mounting alarm over food shortages and meat processing plants close, tweeting that there is no shortages of meat heading for grocery stores. Now, today, he actually ordered them to stay open. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I mean, he can order it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen unless he nationalizes the meat program, or not the meat markets. But I don't even see that happen at this time. It's just too early in the scenario. But shortages could be coming in that area. Because I don't know if we want a bunch of people working in the meat plant if they're sick.
Yeah, I'm not too comfortable with it. At the same time, though, I understand a lot of people right now are getting food lines to get groceries. Because even with everything still running, there's still a shortage in areas like New York. That was really hit hard, Connecticut.
I have an article here from the Freight Broker Live. Have you ever watched that guy?
It's an interesting channel. I know you told me about it earlier today. I did save it. I have not watched a lot of it, but I definitely want to check him out.
He is an actual freight broker. And he used to run his own authority with his own trucks, I believe, from what I've seen. He's done quite a bit of things. Looks like a pretty young guy. But here's an article. Did you know that there was a trucker arrested after driving drunk and flipping a semi-truck full of food? Oh, God.
Wow.
I can't imagine that. But Apparently that happened in Washington. That guy must have been really stressed out. I just thought that was a little entertainment for the day.
There is, one thing just came across my news, my email, I want to let everyone know. Trucker.com has a map. I'll just read a little bit of it.
Okay.
As truck drivers continue serving the front lines during the COVID-19 crisis, they want to expand the availability and supply of hand sanitizer to truckers along major U.S. freight corridors. ATA and member company ABF Freight are hauling 10 55-gallon drums of hand sanitizer purchased by Protective Insurance for distributing in 8 states. That drivers can stop and refill their personal supplies at no cost. We have Alabama, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Texas. If you go to trucker.com, we'll put the link in the bottom. And you will definitely be able to scroll down the page. There's a map. It tells you exactly where you can go to fill up your hand sanitizer.
I brung it up. I have it right here. I will make sure that we put a link below for that. Well, that's really good because I went to buy some hand sanitizer yesterday and it was nowhere to be found. But I've got vodka. It's going to be all right. Our local distillery is actually making hand sanitizer now, but and they're giving it away. It smells like pure grain.
Oh, does it really?
It does. Yeah, I guess it's Vaseline and pure grain. It works. Anyway, Daniel, we should probably wrap this up. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, I believe that'll be it for this episode. Guys, just remember, if you want to try the DAT system, there is a link in the description. You can try it for free for 30 days on DAT's dime.
Okay, Daniel, thank you for joining me here today. Everybody, remember, be safe, be profitable, and be happy.
Be good, guys.
Bye.